You know, it's good to be the king. To get to have amazing meals like this. Look at the size of that steak. Even the dog wants some. Hello, my friends, and welcome to Tom's Tinkering and Adventures. You like my hat? My son got that for me. Thank you, son. Today, we're going to be cooking a tomahawk steak on the Kamado grill. I have a Bubba Keg, it's called, which is a steel Kamado style grill. You may also have heard of the Big Green Egg, the Akorn, the Kamado Joe. There's several of them out there. Most of them are ceramic, but mine is a steel version, insulated. Same basic principle, so it'll be the same principle in any of them. And first thing that we're going to do is we are going to season our tomahawk steak. If you've never seen one of these before, they're pretty popular at your big steak restaurants. Really, all it is a thick cut ribeye steak with an extra bone sticking out of it. So there's nothing amazingly special. They're just pretty fun to cook and to eat. I mean, you can see how large it is. It's as big as my hand. This thing is just under about under 3 pounds, 2.75, 2 3/4 pounds. And there you go. There's my thumb for width-wise. A little bit of grease under my nails. I work in the garage. I apologize. I'll put gloves on. So it's about 3 inches thick. I'm going to be seasoning it with Montreal steak seasoning, and you feel free to season your steak however you like. You can dry age it, you can brine it, you can do whatever you'd like, but I'm going to season it, and then I'll show you how we're going to get our grill up to temp. In the meantime here, don't forget to subscribe to Tom's TNA. Bubba Keg. Yeah, you can see why it's called that. Looks like a big keg. Steel, insulated, steel inside. Your Big Green Eggs and stuff like that are all, like I said, ceramic or porcelain. But this is all the same procedures basically. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some new charcoal in here. The nice thing about these kind of grills is they are very efficient. So this charcoal in here, it probably really is enough. There's very little in here. You can see there's the bottom. It's probably enough to actually do this cook, but I'll add some new stuff. But once you're done, you just shut all the vents and the fire goes out because it's got a lack of oxygen. So the charcoal lasts a long time. Let me get some new charcoal in there. I'll show you how I light this thing. So if you're new to these style grills, there's several ways to light it. I'll just show you one of the ways. There's many methods you can use to light the charcoal in here. And when you have a Kamado style grill, you do not want to use briquettes. Make sure you get lump charcoal. It looks like little pieces of wood. And the way that I have been lighting this thing the majority of the time is anytime I deep fry food, which is not very often, but anytime I do it, I save the old vegetable oil. So this was probably used to make donuts or something. I don't remember what the last thing I deep fried was, but that's the old fry oil. And then anytime I wash my hands in the garage and I wipe them off with a paper towel, I just set these paper towels in a little plastic bag and I soak the paper towels in the vegetable oil. So I usually use 3 and then just kind of crumple them up and I put them underneath a couple of briquettes and I spread it out. So at about 120 degrees, if you want to get your protractor out, you could do so. And just put it underneath a little bit of the charcoal, not briquettes, I'm sorry, lump charcoal here. And then there's one to wipe my hand with. Doing this one-handed, amazing. One hand washes itself. What's the sound of one hand clapping? Terrible. All right, and then with your manly pink lighter, you just light up these paper towels and have a go at her. Now what you want to do also is make sure that you have your vent completely open on the bottom, and your vent completely open on the top. And away we go. It'll take a couple minutes. Those will burn down. Start these this lump charcoal going, and we'll come back once it's going. These things heat up kind of quick, so you don't want to let it get too out of hand. All right, we're heated up about 275 right now. I actually left this thing for just a little bit too long and it got a little too hot, so I had to close everything up. So I'll just crack it open a little bit down here on the bottom. It doesn't need much. Maybe even a little bit less than that. And the same for the top. Just a little bit just to maintain the heat. Put it at about a number 1. Steak is all seasoned up here. Now what we're going to be doing for this tomahawk is what's called a reverse sear. So we're going to cook it at a little bit lower temperature, indirect. So down here I have got, this is a cast iron pan actually that I got down there, but the steak's going to sit right over that, so the heat is not directly coming up onto our amazing looking tomahawk steak here. I'll put you in the holder. Put that bad boy right there on the heat. Ain't nothing but a thing. And now we're gonna cook it. I'm gonna try to maintain temperature between about 250 and 300, you know, roughly 275. And if you have one of those very nice temperature probes, that's beautiful. You don't have to check anything. You know, maybe it Bluetooth right to your phone or whatever. But for me, I'm gonna cook it for about 30 minutes or so, and then we'll take a little temperature reading on it and see where we're at. I forgot to mention when I put that steak on, if you want to put some flavored wood chips in there, you can do that as well, smoke it. I've cooked a couple of these. I've tried with wood chips and I didn't really notice too much difference. We've been cooking for about 40-45 minutes or so, and I don't know how well you can see that there. The temperature's actually climbed up a little bit above 300. Sometimes you got to be very careful with the adjustments on here to get these things set correctly, but we'll see where we're at. Just using a regular meat thermometer, nothing fancy. And I'm looking for about 110 or so, right about 110, because I would like to have this thing about medium rare. Look, we're just about perfect. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take that nice chunk of steak off of there, set her here, and we are going to get ready for our reverse sear. And what that means is I'm going to remove the grate. Oops. Very carefully remove the grate. It's very hot. It's hard to remove this with one hand. Set it there. We're gonna remove the indirect heat deal I got going here, which is my cast iron, and we're gonna open up all the vents and get this bad boy up to about 600 degrees. We'll see you back here in a couple minutes. It's been about 3 minutes. When you open up the vent down there and the vent up there, that airflow goes through there on that charcoal in there. Boy, heats it up quick. While I wait for this thing to get a little bit hotter, I just want to say thank you once again to my sister. I'm wearing my apron here. She called me out, said I'd never wear it, so this thing is nice. You can carry some extra beers in there. All right, so we're at about 550. I think we'll go ahead and throw this thing on for a sear. And what you do, between 500, 600, wherever you're happy. I have wrapped the bone in some foil just so that doesn't burn. And we're gonna put it on here. Oh, I gotta put the grate back in there. Let's do that first. But we're gonna put it on for about, just a little bit under 2 minutes per side. All right, on we're gonna go. Let's sear this bad boy. 2 minutes on that side, flip it, 2 minutes on the other side. All right, we'll sear the other side. And the sear here is kind of just locking in the juice here, getting a nice crust on the outside of that steak. What do you think, Wiener Dog? It's gonna be good? Okay, we're gonna pull her on off of there. Looks pretty nice. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to rest the steak about 5 minutes. I'm gonna cover it in that foil. I think I'm also gonna put a pat of butter on here. I'll let a little bit of butter soak into that meat. Nothing wrong with that. We'll see you back in the kitchen dining room. Okay, after the sear and resting, we're at just about 130. So 125 was kind of my target temperature, so we're pretty close. Bring it over here to the cutting board. And now, I mean, the beauty of this steak is it's giant. You know, you pick it up with your hand and look like a big caveman eating it. But my wife and I are going to share this, and this is probably a couple meals for us. So I'll get the photo up. In fact, I'll see you in just a moment. I'm going to get my photo for a thumbnail possibly, and then we're going to cut it. All right, well, let's see how she looks on the inside. We'll cut a little slab right off of this back side here. I know that my wife's not going to have any trouble enjoying this. And there you go. Oh, look at that. Nice. Medium rare. Love it. That's going to be perfect. And since I'm from the Midwest, we got potatoes to go with this. So meat and potatoes. Well, baked potatoes. But, you know, it's not the healthiest thing, but every once in a while you got to have a good home-style meal. All right, well, hopefully that explained it pretty well, and you learned a little something, and we're going to enjoy this steak. My wife's just off screen here waiting for me to finish up so that she can eat this thing along with me. She's not going to eat the whole thing. I'll probably eat most of it. All right, if you're digging what I'm putting out, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and if you're not already a subscriber, please consider doing so. There you go. Subscribe, please. Thank you very much for watching. Get out there and find your adventure. Adios.